drugs are bad, and if you want to defeat drugs, then you have to enforce them. You have to enforce them out of existence. How do you respond to that? What is your argument to those people that have been raised? No, I'm telling you, people have been raised with this. Go ahead.
Free Talk Live.
Tom, you're on Free Talk Live.
It's about the war on drugs. Okay, a lot of people keep voting against libertarian candidates, and a lot of they keep voting against the candidates who want to legalize drugs. A lot of politicians want to be tough on drugs in order to win elections. And on Monday, because of them, a state trooper down in Virginia chose to get himself gunned down in a drug raid. And the blood of that cop, of course, he was free to turn in his badge instead and go get a job and work for a living. So it is his own fault that he was breaking and entering into a home in Cumberland County, Virginia, when he could have been out looking for a real job and working for a living.
Was he serving a warrant?
Yeah, but
okay. For against somebody who.
Are you talking about the no-knock raid where all those people were killed?
That wasn't in Virginia, but
okay, that was Texas.
Yes,
that was Texas, and that was not this week. That was last week's drug raid where 2 innocent people were brutally murdered. In this one innocent person was brutally murdered, and one of the intruders was shot and killed. And the thing is, if you vote for candidates who don't want to legalize drugs, you're not pulling the trigger, but you're pulling the lever. You did not defend liberty as best you could with ballots, and so the drug dealers are doing what they can to resist law enforcement to defend their rights by using bullets.
Tom, let me flip this around here. A lot of people out there. I mean, a lot of people have raised kids since the 60s and the 70s, and they have been told since 1971, 1972 that drugs are bad. And if you want to defeat drugs, then you have to enforce them. You have to enforce them out of existence. How do you respond to that? What is your argument to those people that have been raised? No, I'm telling you, people have been raised with this. Go ahead.
You don't have to buy any, and you don't have to let your children buy any. And if they're being pushed to do drugs at school, then that's another reason to provide school choice by eliminating public schools.
It's good answers.
The point, a very important point to make, is that at the funeral, inside the church where you got the family and the clergy and maybe some altar boys and choir girls, a rather harmless lot there, right outside the building, typically there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of enemy officers standing at attention right out in the street, right out in the open. They're not wearing helmets. There's no innocent people interspersed among them. That's this Saturday at 11 a.m. right outside the Chilhowie Christian Church in Chilhowie, Virginia. Lots and lots of cops standing out in the street that aren't wearing helmets.
I don't even want to know what you're advocating here.
I didn't advocate anything. I'm just mentioning what happened.
You're just pointing it out.
I didn't advocate anything now, did I?
Well, Tom, I do appreciate your call. That's interesting, though, and sadly, I mean, most people have just never lived, like we were talking about how we have kids that have never lived without Afghanistan, but we have generation upon generation that's never lived without a war on drugs. And an interesting statistic, I think it's interesting, in 1972, the average rate of opioid addiction was about 1.7% across the population. Or it might have been that, or it might have been in percentage of people that...
Well, that's because it's 72, you say?
Yes.
Well, that's very heavily illegal then.
They were. I can call it 1970, 71. If we fast forward to 2019... we see a rate of addiction across the entire population of about 1.7%. In other words, that number never changed. We have spent trillions of dollars in a war on drugs that doesn't work. It does not work, and you can make the United States have the largest prison population in the world. You can create a whole new industry called prisons for pay. Prisons for hire, and you'll give lots of money to all sorts of contractors who come up with new and intrusive ways of.
We're creating jobs, Chris.
That's what it is. It is. It's a jobs program.
It is.
It
is a jobs program.
And that's basically it.
Go to Florida, and you'll see it's a jobs program.
So I wonder which way these prison for hire companies tend to vote.
You have certain Democrat, actually.
Well, I'm sure the union shops do, but I'm sure for the hard on
Florida Department of Corrections,
right?
Most of them are like single black mothers. No joke. If you live in Ocala,
that's a real irony there.
Where the Marion County prison is, I used to live like 4 miles from that prison. I worked at a business that was right across the street from it. And I used to buy marijuana from a guy whose business was literally like right outside the fence.
It's the last place they'd look.
It was funny. That was 20 years ago, though.
Keep in mind, we can't keep drugs out of prisons, but you want to keep them off the street.
Yeah, I know. It's hilarious.
Go ahead. How's that working out for you?
Right. So, and what you see is these people that are going to work at the prison, and the people that you're seeing working at the prison are in the uniform. They're single African-American moms.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.